Uh, I'll just quickly start sharing my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Uh, cool. Okay, so recording has been started. So we are good to go. Okay. So hello everyone. So today we will be learning around WebDriver IO, what it is, and like the understanding of the WebDriver IO in detail. Then we will jump on to the configurations, the syntaxes, how can we play around with the test reportings, the cloud services or other services which we can implement using WebDriver IO. Then we will have a small demo so that we can actually see what all we have learned in throughout the talk, and then we can go ahead with the Q&A. Okay, so let's first understand the problem statement. So why do we even need all these testing tools and all? So we have a application. We want to achieve that it should be working fine in the various devices which are available. We also want that it should work fine in various browsers as well. But the question is, which testing tool should we consider to have our work done with minimal effort and very optimal and realistic outcome and less efforts, obviously, as I mentioned. So among all the testing tools which are available, one is WebDriver IO. So why should we even opt for it? So what is different in it? So that's what we gonna see today. We're gonna learn about it, we're gonna discuss about it. So as we know that we want our application to work fine with devices and browsers, so WebDriver IO is a JavaScript automation testing tool which is built over Node.js, and it gives us the flexibility to fulfill our requirement with minimum effort. It does have very different features, like it is like very much front end friendly. The way we write the code is very simple compared to other testing tools. And why is it so? We will see that in during the demo. When we are actually going into the code, we can actually observe what is the difference, why is it very simple. And it does support page object model inbuilt. So that helps us to have a very structured format of all the test suite we want to perform. So it is having a good maintenance, and as I mentioned, it is very simple, that gives a minimum effort and minimum maintenance as well. So let's understand uh, first, like, okay, so it does give us various flexibility and all, but what how is it different? What other features are we getting from WebDriver IO? So let's try to understand one by one what all we can do with WebDriver IO. So why just simply why. So first thing is, what all configurations we can have with WebDriver IO. So it has multiple configuration settings, so which gives us the privilege to have our test suite executed as per our needs. So for example, if I want to use some different test runner, but on top of that I want to beautify the report so that I can show that to the team members, or maybe the client or the stakeholders, to whichever audience I'm targeting to. So that is quite achievable with a very minimal effort, like just like 2 3 lines of code and your work is done. Whatever you want is done. So test reporting is one of the things, and in configurations there are multiple options. Like you can integrate it with various other platforms, various other tools that we will be discussing in the upcoming slides uh, to understand it in a better way. Then how about, like, what is the manual work or the mental work we need to do? So it is like it supports web plus app mobile. So what does that mean? So we have an application, we want to verify that our application is working fine across browsers in a device. So you want browser support in a device, that is possible. On top of that, you also have your native app and you want to verify that one also on multiple devices or some set of targeted devices. So that we can achieve with WebDriver IO. And then since we are managing almost the configuration, what all platforms, capabilities, the services which we are integrating at the configuration file level. So the maintenance of the WebDriver IO becomes very easy, and it won't be a headache for the entire team. And on top of that, it does have a very active community. So in case you found something which is not working as expected, or you want to have some different feature which is not readily available in WebDriver IO, you have got a very good platform to reach out to the community and ask them for that specific feature, and there is high chances of you getting that feature in the upcoming update of the WebDriver IO. So for this, even if you go back and check on the website, you'll see like 2-3 days or something, the last push must have been, like the last update must have been there. So that kind of active community WebDriver IO is having. And then the most important part, like what are the other things we heard that okay, in configurations we can integrate it with many platforms, but what are all this? So we'll understand it. So it has a very good support around cloud services. So if you have your pipeline and you want to integrate your test suite with your pipeline, and you want it to be independent, and you want your tests to be up and running in cloud services like Sauce Labs or Browser Stack, so that is possible here with just configuration changes, and you have your work done there. And then there are a few other features as well, like the custom command, image testing, and DevTool protocol. So we'll check on this in detail. So to understand it in a better way, let's just consider a example. So I have a very simple application, a MAME application. So what it does is, it is having one login page. I need to just enter the username, password, and click on login button, and I get navigated to the home page where I see the top 10 memes. So this is what the application is about. This is just the example I'm taking to for us to connect more to what I'm talking about. So now the cloud services, which I have already talked about, so it has the capabilities of Sauce Labs and Browser Stack, so you can have it up and running there. Then the custom commands. So let's consider this application. So I want like there is inbuilt command called click, which performs a click action on the element which we ask the executor to click on. But I don't want a simple I don't want a simple click. I want the application, I mean the executor, to perform a click, then wait for the page to be entirely loaded, then verify if any of the element is displayed, and then it should come out of that specific command. So I want to extend this inbuilt click command to my flexible custom command. So that is completely possible using WebDriver IO. This is one of the example again. You can have it in your own way. You can use any kind of custom command as per your need and your project requirement. Then we have Docker support. So for example, I am having this set of valid users saved in Solar. So Solar is my database, and I want that a Docker image should be used, so that I can just build the image, I perform my tests, and the container and the images should be destroyed, so that it does not use much of my system's RAM and all, and I have my test working fine. So you have got that feature here. You just need to integrate the service in the configuration file, and you have your Solar, I mean the Docker up and running, and your tests will perform very smoothly with the capability of Docker. Then let's consider another thing, that is image comparison. So as the word itself says, so I will give one image and I will say that during the execution, stop at this particular point, take a screenshot and compare it with the image I have provided. So what WebDriver IO does is it does pixel by pixel comparison. So in my application, so the first meme, let's say it is Rasode mein kaun tha. So I'm having Gopi Bahu's image here, but during the execution, it appeared that Rashi's image was there on the meme instead of Gopi Bahu's. So that can be captured using WebDriver IO, and it has a very beautiful feature that it gives you the difference between the image which you had given and the image which was captured during the execution. So that gives you a exact uh, result or the report of what went wrong in that screenshot or in on that page. So that is one, and then this one very interesting part, DevTool protocol. So let's first understand what is DevTool protocol. So you might have seen this window in any of your browser. So majorly it is used for interacting with the browser. It can cover and it can check whatever your application is doing. It can have like if you are having multiple APIs, you can check in the network tab. And for a certain set of requirement, if you want that your application should be on slow network like 2G, or if you want it to be offline and perform certain action, those all capabilities we can have with the dev tool, like normally which every browser have. And then on top of that, you can play around with the cache, the cookies, the performance of the APIs, or overall the application, where it takes how much time does the application is taking to load the entire page and all. So this is all about the DevTool protocol. So what we can do with the DevTool protocol in our test scripts. So let's consider that the same example. We are having our application. Now we have, say, I just logged into the application, and then I just logged out and I want to log in again. So this scenario I want to verify. So what I can do is to save the time and all, I can just have a cookie in my test suite, and I can just drop that cookie or some cached memory in that, so that it will be up and running, and it will save me some time since I'm readily giving the cookie. On top of that, I can also verify the performance of it. So like how much time it is giving. We have certain commands which helps us to verify the and have a assertion around it. Instead, I mean, if we want that, okay, none of the APIs should take more than 1 second, so we can have that assertion during the execution, so that can be achieved here. And on top of that, let's say the main we see, I want to download that, but I want to download it at a specific path. For me to verify that again, so that is also possible. I can set the downloading path using WebDriver IO. So just it's isn't it a very curious part of it? Like you can perform all the work which you tend to do during your manual testing in your test script, and you have to do it once, and then your work is done. It will take care of it whenever the execution is happening. So and like you can play a lot around this dev tool and the WebDriver IO integration. It has got various like capabilities of performing the test scripts as per your need. So I will keep it a bit open for you all, so that you can go back and do a bit of R&D around it and understand how that works. So let's move on. So now we have talked that, okay, we know what is WebDriver IO. Now we have seen that it is having various capabilities. It has given some very, like, sparkly points and all. But how that works exactly? How the execution happens? How is it that easy? What is the difference? So let's consider. So normally we have a automation script. So we have written all the test flows which we want to verify, and So in WebDriver IO, what we will do is we will have config files. So what are these config files? So we want to verify the test scripts works fine across different platforms. So, but we don't want to have it like a redundant task or a lot of effort. So we have one script and then we make different config files so that each config file will define what kind of platform I want to execute it on. Let's say config 1 says that it should run on say Sauce Lab. Config 2 says that it should run locally on Chrome browser, and so on. So I can define multiple config file and one script, and then using the WDIO test runner, I can just give the config file with the test runner command, the CLI I'm using inbuilt CLI, which WebDriver IO provides us. I can achieve my test working properly across devices, across browsers, as well as across cloud services. So here, the level of confidence I'll be having for my application is like something, which everyone in the team would like to have. That okay, I have pushed the change, but no worries, WebDriver IO is there and it is going to take care that it works fine, and the build is green, the pipeline is green, my life is green. So just like the background of mine, so it goes all green. So that's how the confidence level will be. So let's understand the configuration file. Since in this description of how it works, configuration file is playing a very important role, because we are actually segregating, we are giving different types of capabilities and everything in the configuration files. So let's just dig into it, what it provides us with, what are the various features it gives us. Okay, so in the config file, so we give the configurations of how you want your test scripts to get executed. So first thing is the runner, where you want your test scripts to get executed. Then it comes like which exact files would you like to execute in a specific set of configuration file. So this is one file. In that, which files are you targeting? So for example, I want to execute. So I have segregated the files and I've given browser as the initial tag, so that my executor or my configuration file knows wherever I see browser and some name and .js, so I have to pick all those files when I'm executing. So I have all these files here, I can have it here. And if in case I just want to exclude few of the files, so I can anytime have the path mentioned here, and during the execution these files will be ignored. That's sad, but yeah, if the requirement says it, we can achieve it. And then the max instances. So now we want to save time. So that is, time is money, so we want to save a lot of time. So I can say that I want max instances to be 10. And then in my capability, as you can see, I have defined max instances 10, and then below that we have capabilities option. So in capabilities, we can define where you want to run your scripts. Like here I have given Chrome browser name as Chrome. So maybe we can have multiple modes, like say, I want Chrome, I want Firefox, I want Safari. So three browsers I'm taking. And then for each browser, I define some maximum instances. So the total of all these browser instances should be 10. It should not exceed 10, because we have said that, okay, whatever capabilities, whatever platform you want to perform, so this is the range, you can't go beyond it. So 10 instances, and you can have it all running parallel. And then comes the log level. So now it does provide us with the option to show information as much as we want it to be. You can have it like at an info level or a debug level or error level. So that's up to you, what how much information you want to have to be visible for everyone. So if you consider like cloud services, and you have made it like log level as silent, so there in execution it will just show that okay, these are the test cases which got passed, which got failed, and that's it. It won't the information about like what all steps or any kind of like if you are playing around with anything and you don't want the scripts to be displayed there, that is achievable. Then there is one attribute called bail. So this is very interesting. So I have my test suits, and I have say 10 test cases, and I want that on production, whenever I'm having this layer of WebDriver IO into picture before it goes to production, even if my single test case is failed, I don't want to go ahead. I want to say, hey, that's not how we want it to be, and just give a very red flag and just stop execution, stop everything, and then check what happened in that test case. So if you want to achieve like uh, n number of test cases, like you can define any number here, uh, to like this many number of test cases, if they are failed, you have to stop the execution and just give me the error. So that is possible, and by default it is 0, that it gives okay, even if my test one test case is failing, let the others go ahead and have it executed, and then give me the report overall, how many were failed, how many were passed, what were the issue, I can debug. So that is achievable here. And then base URL. So we always have one base URL, so we can just define it here, so that in the test scripts what we can do is we can just append it with any specific like pages or somewhere if we want to have it, then we can do that. Otherwise we have defined it here, our work is done. So wait for timeout. So in the test scripts, we do need multiple wait timeouts and wait, like explicit wait, implicit wait for certain scenarios and all. So what we can do is we can have a master timeout here defined in the configuration file, and then that will be a default timeout for all the wait for commands you are using in the entire test suite. So that is possible. And then connection retry timeout. So because of certain issues, my browser driver is not providing, or say the grid is not responding, then that time I have this timeout that I will say that before just coming out of the execution and giving me error, I would like the execution to wait for this specific time duration, and try to reconnect if the connection can be established again, and then throw me the errors whatever you want to. And then we have timeout, connection retry timeout. On top of that, we again have connection retry count. Okay, so once it has been failed, I was the WebDriver, I was not able to establish the connection with the WebDriver again. So we have mentioned that okay, if it does not, if you are not able to do that in once, at least try for this many number of times, and then say hands up, I can't do anything further. So that thing we can have it here. And then services. So as of now, here I have just written Chrome driver, but services is the part where you can play a lot. Like you can, the things which we talk, like image testing, the DevTool protocol, Docker, everything can be clubbed here. So in demo, I have the code setup in which I'll showcase multiple services in one config file, and how does that execute. And then framework. So WebDriver IO readily supports three framework, that is Mocha, Jasmine, and Cucumber. So we can choose any one of it as per our needs and the project requirement, and then we can go ahead with the uh, like the scripts and all the execution of it. And then we have reporters. So these are like the test reporter. So here I have just used spec, but WebDriver IO provides us with the multiple other test reporting options which we can opt as per our need and as per the audience we want to showcase it to. So we can achieve it here. And then in the framework options, if we are using any framework and we want to say that, okay, hey, I am using you, but then I need certain options on top of your capabilities. So that thing you can pass under the options for the framework. So this was like a very detailed and summarized uh, uh, attributes of a config file which you can use. So we will see that one again one more time in the demo so that we know one level ahead of it, like adding Docker and all. So the test runner. So we have now we have the config file, we have our script. Now we want to execute. So what we need to do? Just open the terminal, have this command, that is npx wdio, and the config file path. So wherever you have defined your config file, you can have it there and it will execute. Since I had used spec reporter, it shows me something like this. And here I have one spec file which I added for the execution, and in that I had two test cases. So I was lucky enough to have it passed, so I captured that and have it here. So this is about the test runner. Then let's go to the test reporters. So as I mentioned earlier, that this is very important. So you have done your work, you have felt proud about doing it. Now you also want to share your happiness with the team members and other people, and you want to have it, like, it depends on you. How would you represent the reporting things? So that is achievable here. That is also useful for you to analyze how my application or the scripts have been performing over a duration, over a period of time. So you can do that. So there are certain test reporters which are readily supported by WebDriver IO, like uh, HTML, JSON, Speaks, Allure, Dot, Concise, and few others as well. So you can even combine 2 3 reporters and have something creative of your own. You can achieve that. You just need to go and play around with it. So okay, now we have talked about the config file, the test reporters, the the execution part, the reporting system, but very basic thing. What about the selectors? How do I locate a element? How is it in WebDriver IO? So no need to worry. The similar way we have locators in Selenium, we have it here in WebDriver IO. They are called as selectors. So as we had like XPath, CSS, and the other attributes which we use to achieve to locate any element, similar ways we have it here. So few of the examples, like example of the syntax, I have tried to capture here. So for example, if you want to use a class name, you can have it defined with a dot. If you want to use a ID, you can have with a hash symbol, and then so on. Like you can have you can achieve whatever you could do with Selenium, that is achievable here. Because it is WebDriver IO readily have all the superpowers of Selenium and Appium. So no need to worry about what new things I'll have to learn to have this implemented in my system. So no need to bother about it or worry about it. We have got it ready for you. So that is there. Now let's see. So we have talked a lot about how is it, why is it, where is it. Now let's get our head straight with the code. Okay, so this is how the structure looks like. The sample report, the sample project I have used. So here I am using the demo app and the demo website uh, for execution and the testing. So I have one test folder inside which I have defined the specs. I have kept it very simple and straightforward. It is a simple login test which I am verifying here, and then I have other screen objects and the page objects. uh, this forms the page object model of my automation suite. And then the interesting part, the config files, I have clubbed all config file in one folder so that it becomes easier for me To change anything if I want, I just have to find the config folder and make the necessary changes. Then I'm using app as well, native app. Again, that is the one WebDriver IO provides the demo app. So I have it. So I have the APK file inside this app folder, and the baseline folder is for the image testing. We will take a look at it once we try to understand how we can define it. So let's first see one of the config file. So here this is a normal browser config file, so which I can run locally. So here this all things which we have seen already, this all we know. Okay, log level is info, good. This is all I have said. This we all know. So here is the one which we were looking forward for. So services. So this was the one which I defined earlier. And on top of that, I added three more services. I have added DevTools, I have added Docker, and then image comparison. So these are something like if you want to use, you can have it copy pasted. It is just says that which folder you want to take, what is the format. So you can define it as per your project requirement and as per your convenience. You can have the format defined, and then the screenshot path where you want the all the screenshots which will be taken during the execution to be saved at, and then other such uh, other attributes for you to have flexibility around the image comparison. There are multiple more attributes which you can use to have it your way. And then Docker options. So Docker, we have talked about image comparison. Now let's come to Docker. So here I said I want to use Docker. I want to have an image, and that should get built before the execution, and the container, it should be in a container, and that should be destroyed after the execution, so that the health and everything is proper of my system. So I have my image here. So here I'm using Solar database, which we will see during the execution. I have said that in my local host, run it on this port 4444, and then these are like some things which we will always like to have, like the max retries, inspect interval, and start delay for our Docker to so before giving us any error. So we have said, okay, these are the attributes, please perform this and then give me the outcome. If you are not going to listen to me, then please follow this, and then say whatever you want to do. So that we can achieve here. And then in the options, we can define that which network we want, and the size, like 2G or that, and then the port. So here I'm using my own port, triple 4444. But usually if you go and check on the Docker Hub, you will find there are certain ports which are reserved if you want to use specific images. So you have to take care of this part for your Docker execution to work properly. So this was about it. And then there is something more interesting to it. So now what I have segregated, as the name itself conveys, that I have segregated iOS app, iOS browser, and Android app and browser, and the normal browser. So there might be certain things I want to perform at that specific platform level only. For example, I want to maximize the window, the browser window, which if I give on any other platform, like on a device that might fail, that will fail and give me some error saying that I don't know what you are talking about. So that things can be achieved here. So we can have before suit, we can have after suit, or before test, after test. There are multiple flexibility features here which you would like to have as per your need. So I have just done like before the suit, the browser should have the maximum size, maximum window, and once the after test, once the test is executed, so I would like to lock all the cookies which are there in the browser. So I'm logging in into the application. I'm having one application and I want to capture what all cookies it is setting or it is using. So I can have that here, and I have logged it. So I would be able to see them all during when I execute it. So this was normal about the browser. Now let's understand about how it will be about when we want to use a device. So what differently we have to do. So there are certain common things. So that I have segregated, combined and segregated in one folder so that I don't need to repeat it again and again at every platform level, at every configuration level. So these are few of them, like the framework I want to use, and the reporter I want to use. And for the devices, that platform, I will need Appium. So I can add in services, I can just say that okay, you have to use Appium, and it does my work, and the other things which we have seen already. So this will be like the common config for wherever we have defined that okay, you can use that. So if we see here, we have said here that okay, you require this shared config. So it has got its attributes as well. On top of that, I wanted to segregate at the specs level that which files it should execute. I can achieve that. And then the capabilities. So which specific mobile device or which device I want to use, which is the platform version, what orientation I want it to be in, and then here this one is for app. So I have to give the app path here where I have kept the APK file. So as I mentioned earlier, I've kept it under in the folder apps. So the same thing I've given here so that it picks up this app and does its work for me. So we have these capabilities. Similar way, if we want to have it for a device, a browser in a device, so I have to mention like which browser I want my tests to get executed, and which platform it should be, how many instances. So with the devices it will be like one instance only, and then again the device name, platform version, orientation, and all these are like common things. So this all we can say that whenever I call this config file, bring along with come along with all these capabilities and do the execution part of it. The similar way we have for this Android app and browser as well. Same things, like similar things we need to, similar attributes we need to define so that the execution works fine. And also there is this Sauce Labs. So in Sauce Labs, what you have to do is you have to give some access keys so that when the WebDriver IO try to interact with the Sauce Labs, it knows where exactly I have to go and I have all the required permissions. And again, in this also, we have to define the capabilities. So this one is just for a simple browser. So here I can have, I can give the browser name and the max instances I want to have. And yeah, so we can have the username and the access key. These two are required for you to integrate your test suits with Sauce Lab. So once you have it, you can have that environment variables set in that, and then it will work fine. And yeah, it also gives you the feature to add the tunnel identifier so that all your scripts, I mean the tests, are segregated along with the tunnel name. So that is, and if you are not giving tunnel name, it will create one of its own with the name you have provided, and plus some unique ID with it. So that we have it as per the file, the specs file we have given. And you might be saying this is something different here, test suits. So let's consider that I have a certain file and I want to run it only once, and I want it to be excluded all the time. So if you just want to execute certain files, so you can use this suits, and in that you can add the name of it, and here you can add the path of it. the path of the files which you want to use. You can specify absolute path, or if you want to have it in a relative way, you can do that as well. We have got that one. And then let's see about the screenshot. So this image comparison thing. So here I have desktop Chrome. So these are the images which I have provided for it to verify when the execution is happening. So this one, as I mentioned, I'm using a normal login scenario. So I have two test cases. One is for valid credentials and it gets logged in, and one is for the invalid one. So I have made captured this for invalid credentials, and then you can see the size of the browser. uh, it gets aggregated with that, and if I click on it, it gives me that what image is it, and you can see the difference between the sizes. And then during the execution, so I have defined the path in my service, the image comparison attributes options I have. And then during execution, what all it will capture, it will save here in the actual folder inside the same desktop Chrome. And then I have, like, in case my uh, images are not matching with the one I have provided, so it will fall under, it will fail the execution, because we are expecting it to be exactly same. But if it does not match, it gets added in the diff folder, like the difference between the two images. And as you can see here, you can have the color and everything controlled inside your config file, whichever color you want it to appear, the differences you want to see in. So here it says that okay, all this is not the same as you have mentioned, and then it fails with some error saying that okay, this is not working fine. And in case you have not given any of the screenshots, so it captures the screenshot for the first time, and then it saves it in the folder you have mentioned. And when you run it again, so that time it compares it with the first one which was saved earlier. So no need to worry about like the sizes, if the screen size, if you have like different team members using it, and they are having different systems with different configuration of the system, so that can, no need to worry about it. We have got driver IO to worry for all our tensions. So that is there. And yeah, so the spec file, so here I have written two spec files. One is for browser, normal one, like as I mentioned, invalid credentials, and then the valid credentials. So here I have this image comparison statement assertion, that it check for full image screen, and then it says that okay, check it with this. And yeah, and these are like some normal things, so which we already know uh, from this page object model, and then we can have it here. And yeah, so during when you have read that thing that you can do the 5-minute setup, so I didn't cover that part, so it is incomplete without it, correct? So I have it here in the readme. Once you go back, I will be sharing the link of this GitHub repo, so that you can go back and read this and have your test suits up and running. So this was about the code structure I have made. So now let's just try to execute one of the things. Okay, so since it is like I'm using a lot many things right now, like Docker, I have Docker, I am having the Zoom. So I have recorded it just before the starting of this uh, talk. So I'll just play that and we can see how it is working. So this one is the basic one. So I have my Docker up and running. You can see the symbol there on top right corner. Then I just use the npx command, and here we can see that it is launching the Docker image for Solar. And again, let's just see if the container is there. So I have just made a small command like docker ps, and it shows me that. and side by side it started executing it. Now I had given this localhost 4444, and I have my Docker up and running here. So I can access the Solar and I can have my work done. And the tests were passed. Yeah, so that was there. And yeah, so we can see that Docker container has stopped. So the cleaning up of the images and everything has been performed, and the Docker ID, if I again check that, it has been stopped and it was not visible there. So that's how it uses Docker, and you can have it in your way. So I have one more video wherein I have captured the execution on virtual devices. So let's just have a look at that one also. So I'm just writing the command, and I'm giving the path of the config file. First, I'm using it for iOS browser. So it does need Appium server to be up and running, and your virtual device, the simulator. So, and it shows the capabilities, which the capabilities, they should match with the one you have, the simulator which you have up and running, and the capabilities you have defined in your test scripts. So if that is matching, it does its work. We can see the logs in Appium server, and then it also shows that the test has been passed and the time it took for the execution. Now let's take a look at the Android execution, like virtual Android device execution as well. So again, this is for Android browser. So I have the simulator, sorry, the emulator up and running, and the Appium server, which shows me the log and the capabilities it has been using. Again, the same thing applies here as well. You have to make sure that you are having same capabilities, like the device which you have up and running and the capabilities you have mentioned matches with each other, and then you have your work done. So it has so it closes it everything, and then it gives us the time as well. So this was about the Android browser. Now let's just check about how it will perform for a app, since we have given native app as well. So this time I have executed it on again the emulator. So it checks the capabilities, then it installs the app, then it does what we have asked it to do, and then we have the execution ready. And that is done, and it gives, okay, the process is completed, and you can see the duration of it. And I just had one test case for both of them. That's why it was just one thing. Yeah, so that was all from me. So anyone having any questions which I need to, yeah, there are certain things in Q&A. Okay. Um, mm, okay, so what are the advantages this has compared to the other tools out there? Yeah, cool. I was expecting this question, and yeah, I have a slide for that already. So I thought, just give me a moment, I'll share. So that you can have the visual appearance of what I'm talking about, so you can relate to it more. So just a moment, and I'll share my screen. Yeah. So the best most competitive testing tools are the Protractor and the Test Cafe, because of their setup thing and the ease of use. But they do have their pain points. Obviously, WebDriver IO also have its pain points. Like every coin has two sides. It can never be like all positive. But if you do the comparison, so Protractor, if you consider, the major difference is Protractor and Test Cafe, they give you device browser support only, like in the mobile web support only. They don't have this native app support. So if you want to have you want to have your application, like you have a browser instance but you also have a native app, so you would have to do extra setup to have to maintain the native app test scripts, which can be easily done in WebDriver IO. On top of that, like considering the community, it is very active for WebDriver IO. And in Test Cafe, there are certain very good advantages of it. Like the setup is very quick, just 1 minute thing. It has like we can set the test speed. It is compatible with the continuous integration and everything. But there are certain things which blocks us to which has been blocked by Test Cafe. So majorly, like if we want, we are having certain scenarios where we have this multi-tab or multi-window that we can't achieve using Test Cafe, but that can be smoothly achieved in WebDriver IO. And then the mobile native app I have mentioned. And since Test Cafe is not using Selenium or Appium, it has its own setup and the way it has been built. So it is difficult to set the explicit weights if we want something like we want to have it in our way. It is very difficult. And then it does not use a Selenium and Appium. And then the test frameworks, like in WebDriver IO, we have seen that we have this Mocha or Jasmine and other things. That is not possible in Test Cafe. You don't have that support. It has its own capabilities, and it says that if you want to utilize my capabilities, you have to just stick to me. So that's where it is pain point. In today's world, we all need everything flexible. We are having various requirement. We have we may be working with different teams, and that time we want our test suits to be flexible enough to fulfill our work. Okay. Does it also have self-healing mechanism in case if the locator which is provided is visible or something? Okay. So I didn't get it completely. So it does have its inbuilt wait. So it will wait for that certain duration before giving the error. But in case you have given completely wrong locators or something, then that time it's like a call you have to make, that you have to go and fix it. Otherwise, it won't help you for that. But if you are like if you are having proper locators and all, you can play around with many other things on top of it. I'm not sure if I answered your question. So just you can type or explain it better, what you were looking forward for. Okay. How to provide multiple browsers? Okay, so that depends on how you want to have it. Either you can create different config files in case you want only certain set of execution, like certain set of files to get executed on certain browsers. You can do that. And in case you are having one script and you want to have it up and running across browsers, it has capabilities of cross browser testing. And if you want specifically you want to have all the browsers, then you can add it in the capabilities. You can just add the arrays of say, as I mentioned during the explanation of the config file, we can add one another, like one below the other, which browser specifically you want to use. You can mention those in the config file under the capabilities attribute. Yeah. Okay, how to scale up the tests, parallel test in various browsers in CI environment like Jenkins, Circle CI. I mean, do we have only option to install Selenium standalone Docker images uh, for Firefox and Chrome? Because I see for Edge and IE11, we didn't have Selenium standalone Docker images in place. So if we are looking at, so there are two things in this. So for Jenkins and all, okay. So for Jenkins, you can integrate it, and you can uh, you can manipulate your config file and set the proper like a cron job or something in Jenkins file, that okay, at this instance you have to run this or something. So you can have it up and running in Jenkins without any issues. You just have to configure it as per your needs. And then the other part, so if you want to have it in IE and Edge browsers, so you can check for, like, if there are no Docker images, so you can have it via npm package or something. You will have something to support around it. So I haven't used that. So but yeah, there must be something for with the npm package you can do it, so it won't block you. Yeah. So I hope I answered the question. Okay. If not, please have it again so that I know more detailed one. Okay, I don't see any more questions coming. Hmm. Okay. So I will hand it over to you, Rajni, again.
Okay. Thank you, Shweta. That's very great session. I hope there is some takeaway for everyone and get started on this. And thank you all